TV. The meeting will be starting shortly. While we wait, let's learn more about Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 98 and 22. Channel 98 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 13, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.
order. Heritage Commission. This is Wednesday, August 17, 2022, 7 p.m. My name is Jay Myers. I'm the chairman of the Heritage Committee. I'll work to my right.
And Pam Juddum.
And Julie Gilman, the Select Board Representative.
And to my left.
John Merkel, Vice Chairman.
And Bill Campbell, member, regular member.
And thank you all for being here. Let's turn our attention to the agenda. First order of business is to review the minutes from our last meeting and offer any edits or changes to.
Okay, just tiny thing now. Plaque is spelled P-L-A-Q-U-E, and this is a G-U-E, or else it's a very funny-looking Q. But anyway, plaque is P-L-A-Q.
I did see that. That's
I know, that's one of the things that I circled.
for Liz. That's sort of
Yeah, we
three-quarters of the
don't
way
want a
down.
plague downtown.
Pam asked if,
And on the next page, on the second paragraph, Julie said she had one question. There is a base below the trough, and would it be acceptable for me to reach out? Well, what she actually said, would it be acceptable for me? But when you're writing it, you should say, would it
I
be
got another
acceptable for her
That one.
to reach out?
Yeah.
okay.
And then with those two little niggles, I would like to accept it. I see nothing else.
So to approve them as amended,
Yes.
and I will second that.
We have a second to that motion to approve the minutes as amended. Bill, do you have more to offer in
Where we
further
talk-
discussion?
Is this the one we talked about elections?
The one we talked about elections, yes, it would have been.
Yeah.
Third page, perhaps?
Second page.
Second page.
On the bottom.
Jerry said he would continue as chairman.
Right.
John Merkel will be vice chair, and
Then,
Maura is treasurer, even though she doesn't know it yet, but there she
Right.
is.
Jay talked about the election of officers and asked, is there any interest in doing, should the office we now have continue until next season, springtime? I guess that's okay. I think the next season bothered me. It is in spring.
Yeah, April.
That was the only,
So should we define that
Okay.
and continue
I just-
until next April 2023?
that would probably be the best thing.
Be more specific?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ask if there's interest in doing this.
And I think I agree with the two that Pam mentioned, so I'll go along with it.
All right, so we have some amendments. We have a motion to accept. We have a second on that and some further discussions. Do we have anything else to add to this? All right, for all those in favor of accepting the minutes as amended?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? None. So that passes to accept as amended. Thank you for that. Second on the agenda is the discussion of a master plan. I'll be honest, when I went back to my notes and I looked in the minutes, I was lacking details of what the discussion of a master plan would be. But I did have it written down. I mean, there was talk of it. Where are we with a discussion of a master plan?
A master plan for this commission or the master plan in general?
I believe it's a master plan for the commission. This was, let me check.
Yes.
Yeah, for the commission.
Yes.
Well, there's a few things for us, but I think we've done most of them.
And I appreciate being able to review the master plan for the town. That is something that we have not necessarily done.
That's what I thought you meant.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was not specific, but I had it here for, just for a placeholder and for purposes of clarity. I think, Bill, perhaps you brought it up here about a master plan. I mean, this is in the minutes.
Yeah.
And I said I would make note that this should be on the agenda moving forward. There was not much else in the minutes to identify what we were to discuss, but I wanted to make sure that it was there and details could be added to that. What was it that we were referring to last month as to the master plan for the Heritage Commission?
I think we were looking at whether we want to concentrate on more survey of the town, historical survey of the town, or do we want to do commit more. One of the things in here is for action is commit resources for a new staff person to support us and the HDC. And it's a short-term goal, which has not been met, but is not within our duty to do. Inventory, like I said, prioritize historic resources. That's an ongoing thing for us because we rely on grants for a lot of that. But we could actually try to budget for it too. It's budget season, so we can ask for, more funds to take on some further survey. One of them was to update the Waterfront Commercial Historic District National Register Survey. And I think I talked about this a couple meetings ago, that it really was advised that we don't go forward with that.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask the town planner to just say no. One of the things is to prioritize improvements to the town hall. It's not necessarily on our list, but we should be consulted as far as the historic value of at least the exterior. And any recommendations. And this is something that I would like to put on the agenda for next week, because I've been talking to the members of the Arts and Culture Committee about their priorities for the town hall, and I have some documentation of what they're looking for.
Yeah, Liz is having trouble hearing.
Sorry. Hey, Bob, is this
Thanks, Liz.
working?
It doesn't
Okay.
sound like we're being amplified.
I think we're being overrun by the air conditioner.
Yeah.
I'll turn up the speakers a little bit. Oh, okay.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
What did
No,
you
thanks
last?
for Liz for bringing
What
that
did you
up.
last hear me say?
About the town hall, resources on an ongoing process.
Yep, to prioritize the survey of historical resources, which we do via grants usually. Estimate costs and develop a 10-year plan of historic resource improvement projects. I think that's limited to what the town owns as opposed to what there is within the whole town. And then I was talking about the prioritize the improvements to the town hall, and we're not listed on the lead or the town support, but I think we will have some place in the perhaps how we go about the assessment of what's currently there and what has been there. And I want to talk about that more in detail at the next meeting, because I have some information from the Arts Committee that they've gone ahead to get prices for a building assessment, historic building conditions assessment, and then also a future needs assessment, which can be budgeted, and I will be talking to the town planner about that. But we also have funds, and the Arts Committee has funds. So the first pass at this looks like 8,800 for the building survey, and then 9,100 for the future assessment, or, well, actually more. But I'd like to put the details in front of you, and I just got this today, so I would like to put that on the next agenda. And one of the things was getting the town hall registered on the National Register, which I think we can probably do ourselves, but wouldn't hurt to have the building assessment to do it first. And I think that is all that we have in the master plan for the community. So then the question is, do we have anything further that we want to prioritize?
Do we want to draw some of those ideas together for our own statement?
Yeah. And all of those things are short-term goals. And we haven't been able to do that, so.
Oh, and thank you for that, Julie. And so you're bringing this to our attention. Is this a conversation in the select board? Forgive me if I'm not familiar with maybe where that's coming from.
Here in it comes from the town's master plan that was updated when
2018.
Yeah, 2018. And it's just that we don't have the office support to see these, to take on the, grant writing or documentation or whatever we need to achieve these goals. So it's been hard to keep on top of them, I guess, and to make them go forward based on the master plan and the time frame that they thought at the time these things could be done. So the things that I've read out are things that were recognized with the different public meetings that were held about where we want the town to go and what needs to be done to preserve, and what else do we need in town or want in town. But then do our goals differ? And personally, I think not, but but having a staff person would be one of my goals, and that was recommended in here. And I was thwarted in my goal of doing that at the last budget committee round. But I think we should still keep that at the forefront of the budget recommendation committee and the select board. And I try.
So I maybe taking what Bill was saying, or we asked right from the outset, is this a town master plan or is this a Heritage Commission master plan? It sounds like we're using the town's master plan to identify our interests and also where we need to put our resources, time, and money, and outline that relative to the master plan. And I'm also envisioning some sort of a report card to the select board that identifies what we can accomplish and what we can't accomplish based on our needs.
Yep.
So something much more formal to give voice of the committee to the select board
To accomplish
for purposes to accomplish what is set out in the master plan.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah. All right. I'm trying to sort through it. I do want to add, because I think this was in our minutes last week or part of our last month or part of our discussion, we have a great deal of information relative to structures that have been demolished, whether it's a picture and some description of structures in town, and then what was in place of that. So I think there was some discussion of being able to kind of bring that to light in a much more organized way, and that kind of gets to the surveying part of the mission here of the master plan, but it is something that does take some time and resources from us to do.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I brought up, is that we haven't, to my knowledge, ever gone out to the places that we've made recommendations on demolition, for it, keep it, don't keep it, and we've not documented what came after.
Yeah.
And I think that's important from a historical perspective. I know the Historical Society would probably like to see that, because the information may be important at some point.
Well, we do, to a certain extent. We go out and take pictures and keep files.
Oh, I did not know that.
Well, see, you need to come up and...
And I guess, so the other thing I heard, Julie, was that we have a partner in the Arts and Culture Committee, perhaps related to the town hall itself, in terms of person time and some funding budgets,
Yeah.
that we might be able to consolidate for those purposes.
Does that mean that, like, the last thing we talked about, I think, was the building that's now gone, Pam was particularly concerned about. Should we have gotten more pictures of that and made a folder of what it was?
We have a folder up at the Historical Society. If you want to come and weep over it, I will join
Okay.
you.
Well, and I was thinking the same thing with the church, which is, I don't know that we have to take pictures of a garage that's coming down and
No.
falling apart, but we could, one or two pictures. But then in church, it would be, somebody might want to know what it looked like beforehand. Do we have that, Pam, in the Historical Society?
Not garages, no.
No,
Well,
but
no, he's talking about the church, the Baptist church.
Oh, we got tons of stuff on the Baptist Church. In fact, they gave us all their files, so I have practically a room on the Baptist.
Well, that's what I was going to say. In their applications to the HDC, they provided a lot of material about the existing conditions, not necessarily on the interior, but certainly the exterior.
Are we sure we catch it every time?
That's what
you're pushing for.
That's where I'm looking for a person to help us out.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
So, what action items then should we've kind of put this out on the table. It'd be good to review the minutes when they come out, because I'm not sure how I framed what I said before, but I have a sense of what the vision is. But are there any bullets of action items that we need to hammer out tonight, or?
I don't think so, because it's already outlined in the master plan.
Yeah.
I think what I can do as a select board rep is take this to the planning and building departments, because of the budgeting things that might be necessary for anything that we do. The survey, we might need matching funds if we don't get the CLG grant. That's another thing, is keeping on top of the CLG cycle. And they changed their handbooks. That's why we missed this deadline this year. But it's those kind of things that just slip through the cracks because we don't have somebody to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say, our priorities, we've always been, we were trading every other year with the HDC for the CLG grant money. That our priorities since the beginning have been the townwide survey goal, and we've done parts of it, but there's still plenty more to go through, and some of them are going to be easier than others. Like the J.D. Hill area was all developed at the same time, so that would be a simple one, but it needs to be documented how it came about and who did it, and so that's just an example of what we can. We have to look at our maps again and see which area is next on the map.
And that deadline for the CLG grant is in the springtime, right?
Yeah, the letters of intent, I think, are going to be due in January. They've changed their schedule.
Yeah.
And that's something I should get to you guys. more often or more directly to
Yeah.
pass it forward so we can have that discussion here, because it comes to me and the town planner.
Okay.
And by the time we go forward, either I've forgotten to tell you or the town planner, is doing some of the work. So,
Well, yeah, if you can do that, that'll be coming up quickly. January will come up quickly enough.
Yeah.
As in terms of a letter of intent.
the thing that they asked for now, which they didn't previously, was to get quotes for the work from 3, I think, different consultants, which is going to be hard, I have to
I
say.
don't think there are 3 different consultants.
Well, they're not in Exeter, or they're nearby, there are some, but, I mean, when we did the mapping survey, we had a fellow from New York, so, they're out there. It's just a matter of the size of the job, I think.
Okay.
But that's what we'll have to deal with the next application round, is finding, taking care of that part of the application.
Okay.
Which is something that we should do anyway if we're going for a sizable grant money. We should really do an RFP or RFQ kind of thing, request for qualifications or request for proposals. I think we do that for under 20 or over 25,000, but if we need to have those quotes for the application, then we can put it out there earlier.
What does a survey what would a survey typically cost?
Depends on the size of the area. Franklin Street costs less than Park Street because we did quite extensive area of the Park Street Common and surroundings. So it really does depend on our question.
Yeah, okay.
I don't remember what the Franklin Street cost was, but I know that the consultant that did Park Street really stretched themselves thin on making any kind of profit.
I'm bringing up my own favorite hobby horse here, but I brought my key club to clean up the Gordon Hill Cemetery, and that poor thing is in terrible shape. It's going to take more than about 20 key clubbers.
Is that by the gasworks?
No, it's the one out on Perkins Hill.
Oh, okay. Well, that's one of our, that's on
And as far as I know, the Cemetery Association, again, doesn't even know it exists.
That's something that covers 2 different areas. One is we do actually have cemetery trustees, which used to be an elected position, but a few years ago the select board decided to take on that responsibility, and it hasn't been on our agenda to do that. There's several chapters of the state law that we would have to go through to figure out the compliance of it, but that would be one of the things that they would do, is to document.
Well, as far as I know, nobody is doing anything.
Well, no, I'm sure there's nobody doing anything. But that would be an example of something that we would go for LCHIP funds like we did for the Winter Street Cemetery. And I think this body would be something that would be the ones to take that on.
It needs it very, very badly.
I hear you, but, we have to have some, what's the word I want? Begins with A.
And it is one of the oldest cemeteries of Exeter.
So then that brings up the question, surveys, cemeteries, number 2, town hall, number 3, or, what's our...
Well, I thought the town hall was already listed when we got the plaque out front, but clearly I'm wrong.
That's a state thing, it's not a national.
Okay.
Didn't the selectmen take over the managing of cemeteries?
That's what Julie had said.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that what I guess I'm missing some of it.
Yeah. But, we did that because nobody ran and nobody was ever elected. It's been an empty spot. There are actually funds for doing something with cemeteries, so, that's a possibility. It's just advocating for it and educating the select board on what the duties are of it.
Pam, what was the one you mentioned?
I'm sorry?
What was the one you mentioned?
The Gordon Hill or Perkins Hill Cemetery.
Huh.
Right up at the top of Perkins Hill to the left.
Uh-huh.
It's in back of somebody's house, so you have to know where it is. I'll take you.
And
Yeah, I know the
forgive me,
house.
what road leads to this?
This is
Kingston Road.
Kingston Road.
Oh, Kingston Road.
It's-
111.
There's no
Yeah.
mapping.
I'm trying to think of where.
It's right on the turn.
Yep.
After the turn.
After the turn.
Oh, right. You mentioned that when we were
Yes.
viewing the property,
Yep, I did.
that for the farm.
Yep.
Gotcha. Right. I drove down the lane that day and I couldn't find it.
You won't,
Yeah. Okay.
because
It's
there's
well
nothing
grown
from the
over.
road.
Yeah. Fair enough.
The Conservation Commission, in reviewing a proposal for the warehouse that's out on Continental Drive, had a map, and it said Shaw's Cemetery out there. Not where the development's going, but on the kind of the edge of the map. Haven't been able to find anything, and in fact, I didn't even think there was any cemetery out there.
There's a
But-
document, we have 22
Some-
family plots around,
Yeah, we do.
and there's a document, I think the Historical
we do.
Society has it. I have
sorry,
I have a
yeah,
couple.
Document.
So it has been some very nice
Historical
volunteers.
Society have that?
Yeah,
Yep.
some volunteers went out and documented the whole
They did.
thing, who's buried there, what the stones say too, isn't that, some of them
It's so
anyway.
far as I could figure it out.
Yeah. So we do have that document, and it's on my pile of things that I want to do when I retire.
Well, maybe I'll come by, Pam, and see that part anyway.
But yeah, I mean, that can become a whole tour on its own if we take care of them. But that's another thing that we'd have to budget for, right? The upkeep but the cemetery trustees would be the ones to make sure that happens.
Well, the Dufors did a great job when they were younger, but they're past it.
Yep. Yeah, and the document I'm talking about started
Yes.
a long time ago and was
Yes.
added to as it went
That
along.
was something that Nancy Merrill started. But,
And see, here's
much
the
with the-
history that we don't have gathered in an organized place, except for the Historical Society, I will say that. But the town itself doesn't have the documentation all in one place. And
Yeah.
I don't mean to duplicate it, but we need to at least recognize where we can find the information if somebody asks us.
And it's, help me here, and I'm hearing maybe, and I like to think of things in threes because it makes it easier to remember and organize. If we're going to move forward with some action items related to the town's master plan and our master plan, I'm hearing things related to a town survey / bringing forward our demolition documentation and what's in replace of it. I mean, that sounds like ways to show what exists currently in the town and how the town has changed in our time. The second, and that's item number one. The second item is cemetery cleanup, survey, reconditioning, making those available to, that information available to the public, because there's certainly interest in that. Tracing ancestry, recognizing ancestry, recognizing heritage. And then third is the town hall. If it's not on the National Registry of Historic Places, it needs to be. And then I think we can, I think we should be a part of that process. So, for me, that's in this discussion, I'm hearing kind of three things come to light and give us a chance to focus and move forward on it.
That sounds,
Sounds good.
Okay.
those are attainable goals. Some of them are long-term, but that's attainable.
Anything further on that agenda item?
Oh, that's fine.
kind of takes us to the second one, which, I mean, another agenda item is memorializing our work on the neighborhood heritage area proposal, which does, as we're talking about it, fall into what we've done in terms of town survey, and giving us a chance to kind of document that process. We've been operating off of an outline shared a couple meetings ago, and there wasn't much in the minutes to refer back to on how any action items were to come about it, but I can say that I did go through this accordion file that Barb had accumulated, and in terms of what was in here, in addition to what I had in documentation, and I've made some notes on this outline of where things can be found in binder, or questions that I had as to maybe details to add to the narrative that we were trying to craft, or at least that we were talking about crafting. So I don't know if anybody has attempted to craft a narrative, or we were trying to divvy up some workload there. I didn't craft any narrative. I'll be honest. All I did was at this point kind of inventory what was in this accordion file, and make some notes of gaps and questions that I had. But if anybody has anything to add, I would say this is just an ongoing thing for us to
Why don't you
continue to do.
Why don't you email it to us so we can maybe start to work with it?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, in terms of the outline, and then also what I've done for notes.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and.
You know what we need to do is to get Maura, because I know she kept a file on it.
Right.
Yeah, and she's unfortunately been absent the last couple of meetings, but there is definitely a section of this work that she shouldered very willingly, and did some great, made some great progress in it. So yeah, I mean, until we have her present, we can only kind of make note that we'll bring her in when needed. But John, you're right. What I've done in terms of note taking is something that I can share with you all, and we'll just keep moving the football down the field, so to speak. We won't lose sight of it on the agenda, but knowing that we'll keep working at it. The next agenda item is the antique trough donation. We had a really nice discussion in our last meeting. I drafted a letter, and I'm not certain.
I wrote the letter.
Oh, you did? Oh.
And I sent it, and then I thought, gee, I should have sent copies to the rest of them, but too late.
Okay, fair enough. Good. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for that. I was going to share what I did, but I'm certain what you did was
Well, I did it right after, so I remembered what we said.
made it so fresh. Very good.
Okay.
And that was, you sent that to?
Whoever it was that we were supposed to answer, somebody at the office here.
Yeah, I think it was either Barb or Pam.
The web?
Pam. Oh, the Pam.
It was Pam, yeah.
Oh,
But then there was some talk about a pedestal.
And you said you knew where you could
Yes.
get a pedestal.
There's two things here. One is that we did actually come up with a recommendation of where to install the trough. We did not make a formal vote of that's our recommendation to the select board.
No, that's what we can do. We can, you have to make the vote, correct?
No, we need to vote,
Oh, okay.
or I can just say, hey, I want it at my house.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Well, you can have it.
no.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. We did not take a formal vote, though there seemed to be a consensus.
Yeah.
And let's vote on that. Pam, can you share, maybe, do you have?
We were going to accept it. We were going to put it next to where the concrete slab is going up the hill. So it'll be out front, rather sort of kitty corner.
It was to the right side of the town office building and the left side of 12 Front Street.
Yeah.
If you're facing
If you're facing them.
If you're
the
facing-
the
yes.
two buildings, it would be
Well, you know where the concrete slab is?
Concrete slab.
Where they're. So standing on the concrete slab, looking at the road, it's going to be right to your left. It's going to be on your left.
Right to your left.
Okay?
A couple of us looked
Yeah.
after the meeting last time. We
Yeah.
thought that would be a perfect spot.
Yeah.
Right.
You want a
and
motion then, is that?
I think we do to recommend to the select board because we've been asked the question of where to put it.
Okay,
I move that we recommend to the select board that the antique cross go on Front Street, in front of the house, what is it, 20,
12.
Front Street. At a convenient location, I mean, without putting it on top of pipes and stuff like that, or utilities.
And it would be right across the street from where it came from.
Yep, that's a good point.
So the proposal is to recommend to the select board that the trough be placed at a convenient location on Front Street in front of 12 Front Street and directly across from its original location on Front Street, which was in front of the courthouse.
That's the motion. Somebody second it?
Motion.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion about the location of the trough?
Let's make sure Liz has this.
Got it, Liz?
Good.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? There are none, so the motion passes.
I think it's going to look cool there, actually.
I
Right
agree.
in the center of town.
Yeah.
So you can
that-
tell the selectmen that we recommend this, or do we?
I can. I would have a letter from Jay, I think, just simply saying what the motion was and,
Is the plaque still going to be a entity of as part of this?
as far as I know, that's still recommended.
Good.
The other thing is that we talked about maybe getting a piece of something to set it on because the original base is missing. And I did contact the Academy, who has granite.
Sure do.
And they're very happy to donate something to help us make a stable base for the
great.
trough. We just need to coordinate when and what size. And I've asked the our highway superintendent and the town manager's executive assistant to get me the dimensions, so I know what size to tell the Academy, this is what we need, what do you have for materials? And then we can go on from there, actually placing it. The question I had for all of you is, do you want to go see it first? Right now it's on the
It was up at the highway garage. Is it not there anymore?
no, I think it's on it's a sand pit on Crossroad.
Oh, okay.
Who's it named after? Simpson. The Simpson sand pit, basically, where a lot of things are stored.
Oh, that's where they found the skeletons. Oh, dear.
That's a conversation for after this one. But so I just wondered if you folks would like to go see it. We've seen the pictures, and there's some question of whether it's granite or concrete. I thought it was granite, but the pictures make it look like it's concrete. So I'd kind of like to see it just to coordinate what it sits on, I guess.
I would think somebody at Public Works would know. Jay
Yeah.
Perkins in particular.
Yeah, I want to go see it, so.
And then where is it again?
I think it's at the Simpson sand pit on Crossroad.
Okay.
It's property the town owns. If not, it's in a shed on the Public Works campus.
Okay. So I'll draft a letter to the select board to capture this discussion and decision. And in the meantime, Julie and others, if you wish, go visit it and report back to the HC what you what you see?
Yeah, just contact Pam McElroy, the town manager's executive assistant, or Jay Perkins, the highway superintendent, when you'd like to see it.
All right, thank you for that. I wanted to give an update on the public service announcement, and I met Bob last week, and we I don't know, cut a tape of a public service announcement, and so that will come out at some point in
I'm
time.
sorry I couldn't help. I was out of town.
Oh, yeah, no worries, no worries.
Good. I'm glad we got that.
Yeah, I mean, I shared with you a draft
Yeah.
of what I was intending to say. I did tweak it a little bit, and I thank you for your support and input on that. I did tweak it a little bit more, but it'll come out pretty much what you saw in the draft. And I know Bob is listening, and he is a wonderful asset to this production process. So thank you, Bob, for that. Last on the agenda are updates from various boards and commissions. I know, Julie, you spoke already about what's taking place in the select board. Is there anything else perhaps to add?
The only thing I have to add is it's budget time. So we have some time to think about the goals that we just had, or to present the goals that we have to right now, but always the budget falls under our budget falls under the general government budget, which is all of the town office services. So it's an opportunity to say, this last few years, particularly because of COVID and not meeting together, all we've really had for expenses is our recording secretary and whatever we put into the Park Street documentation. So then the question is, I'm sure we want to go for a grant next year in something, but we should budget for some money to be a matching fund. And I wanted to bring up, the Heritage Commission does have its own fund that's separate from the town's general fund, much like the Conservation Commission has its own, I can't remember the professional word for it, but they have their own fund that we ask the voters to approve putting $50,000 into conservation so they can support either purchasing or maintaining or whatever conservation land and the Rains Farm barn, stuff like that. And we've never done that as a Heritage Commission. Now, if we wanted to do that, we'd really have to have a push on why we want it. And I think we have to decide in the next couple of months. The subcommittees of the Budget Recommendation Committee are going around to the different departments, and I might make a recommendation of maybe Jay, you, and John as chair and vice chair meet with the town planner, because I think he needs other voices than mine.
Okay.
Just to talk about the goals that we just talked about. And he's very good. Dave Sharples is very good with supporting as much as he can the work that we do in historic preservation.
And you might make a little plea for cemeteries.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of hearing that in what
They're dying.
What we discussed. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm hearing that. I mean, I was thinking too. I don't know what goes into getting the town hall on the national
Not
registry,
much, actually,
but-
because we just put the Kensington Church on the register, and it really
Okay.
wasn't very hard.
Congratulations.
Well, it's 1847. It's a nice old building, and there it is.
But it's good that we're discussing what our interests are, what's motivating us, what falls within our purview. Kind of, again, for me, a 3-bullet list is the easy one to focus on, and then that gives us a way to create conversation with the town planner and others on how we can propose budget. And it's just a necessary process. I appreciate a reminder to that so we can get on the ball and not miss the budget cycle.
And actually, demo documentation is really not very hard. All we have to do is stand there and take a picture, several pictures,
Yeah, I mean, we have...
and then keep a file of it.
Right, we have the basis of it, and...
That's the thing, is the coordination of what we do as far as data, collecting and where to put it.
And we do have quite a bit of it up in the Historical Society. So perhaps maybe sometime when you're free, you could come up there and I'll show you what we've got.
Sure.
So we're not both keeping the same thing. Well, there's no reason why we can't, but...
Right, I mean, that's always been a question. The work we do should just go to the Historical Society, which is not connected to the town. It's its own nonprofit, but do we have the room here to store the stuff? Whereas, well, I don't know if you have the room to store the stuff.
Well, we're working on it.
Can we talk about the need for help with the, in terms of staff?
Yeah, absolutely. I bring it up at every select board meeting that I can,
Because a lot of this, really, we could push forward much faster.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Pam, anything from the HDC?
Well, we're meeting tomorrow night, but it's not very exciting. All we're doing is windows down at the old bank building, so I don't think they're doing anything. I don't see anything gross.
Well, between now and tomorrow night's meeting, I would actually appreciate it if people would take a look. I think the application is online.
Yeah.
Take a look at it, because there's some changes that someone might want to comment on.
To the bank?
The Exeter Banking Company Bank as opposed to the Exeter Co-op Bank. Okay. The one on the corner, well, they're both on the corner.
The newsletter building.
Yeah.
Okay.
Old newsletter.
Yeah.
Center Street and
Right.
Water
Yeah.
Street.
So they're proposing to change windows? Okay.
Well, they're changing again, there's loads, it's not just a bank anymore.
Yeah.
There's
Realtor
several
and-
businesses in there now.
Yeah.
So yes, it is, but it's not really changing on the outside. It's changing a lot on the inside.
Yeah, which is not really the purview of the HDC, so
So we don't really say anything, so.
well, we'll see.
And I'm glad they're keeping the building.
Right.
Yeah, bring whatever photos you have of the building. Can you bring that tomorrow night?
Of which building?
The bank newsletter building.
Oh, sure, if you want them.
I do.
Okay.
I want them as reference materials. I can make copies here if you want to just bring
Okay.
whatever you have.
All right.
Thank you.
Is there any new business? Anything we haven't had on the agenda? I think we did bring some new business to the table, perhaps already. Is there anything
I have nothing.
further to discuss before?
Not that I haven't already expostulated on.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
And those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All
Very
right.
good.
Motion carried. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 98 and 22. Channel 98 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 13, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well. thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 98 and 22. Channel 98 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 13, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.